Good evening. It is May 16th. Tonight we are going to be doing reading from 1 Samuel 18:5 through 19:24, John 8:31 through 59, Psalms 112, 1 through 10, and Proverbs 15:12 through 14. So yesterday, David killed Goliath, and that's kind of where we ended off in Samuel. And he brought 5 stones to the confrontation. And if you don't know the reason why, is because there was Samson and he had 4 brothers. He was going to kill them all. So before we get started, we like to do the Lord's Prayer. So if you will, join in with me. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory forever and ever. Amen. 1 Samuel 18:5 through 19:24. Whatever Saul gave David to do, he did it, and he did it well. So well that Saul put him in charge of his military operations. Everybody, both the people and the general and Saul's servants, approved of and admired David's leadership. As they returned home after David had killed the Philistine, the women poured out of all the villages of Israel, singing and dancing, welcoming Saul with tambourines, festival songs, and lutes. In playful frolic, the women sang, Saul kills by the thousands, and David kills by the 10,000. This made Saul angry, very angry. He took it as a personal insult. He said, they credit David with 10,000s and me with only thousands. Before you know it, they'll be giving him the kingdom. From that moment on, Saul kept an eye on David. The next day, as an ugly mood was set by God to afflict Saul, he became quite beside himself, raving. David played his harp, as he usually did at such times. Saul had a spear in his hand. Suddenly, Saul threw the spear, thinking, I'll nail David to the wall. David ducked, and the spear missed. This happened twice. Now Saul feared David. It was clear that God was with David and had left Saul. So Saul got David out of his sight by making him an officer in the army. David was in combat frequently. Everything David did turned out well. Yes, God was with him. As Saul saw David becoming more successful, he himself grew more fearful. He could see the handwriting on the wall, but everyone else in Israel and Judah loved David. They loved watching him in action. One day Saul said to David, here is Merab, my eldest daughter. I want to give her to you as your wife. Be brave and bold for my sake. Fight God's battles. But all the time Saul was thinking the Philistines would kill him for me. I wouldn't have to lift a hand against him. David, embarrassed, answered, do you really mean that? I'm from a family of nobodies. I can't be a son-in-law to the king. The wedding day was set, but as the time neared for Merab and David to be married, Saul reneged and married his daughter off to Adriel the Malatite. Meanwhile, Saul's daughter Micah was in love with David. When Saul was told of this, he rubbed his hands in anticipation. Second chance. I'll use Michael as bait to get David out where the Philistines will make short work of him. So again, he said to David, you're going to be my son-in-law. Saul ordered his servants, give David off by himself and tell him, the king is very taken with you and everyone at court loves you. Go ahead, become the king's son-in-law. The king's servant told all this to David, but David held back. What are you thinking of? I can't do that. I'm a nobody. I have nothing to offer. When the servants reported David's response to Saul, he told them to tell David this, the king isn't expecting any money from you, only this. Go kill 100 Philistines and bring back evidence of your vengeance on the king's behalf. Avenge the king of his enemies. Saul expected David to be killed in action. Saul's a turd. Drop something, sorry. On receiving this message, David was pleased. There was something he could do for the king that would qualify him to be right out. But he went right out. He and his men killed 100 Philistines, brought the evidence back in a sack, and counted it before the king. Mission completed. Then Saul gave Micah, his daughter, to David in marriage. As Saul more and more realized that God was with David and how much his own daughter, Michal, 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 loved him, he feared for David increased and settled into hate. Saul hated David. I guess I forgot about that. Whenever the Philistine warlords came out of battle, David was there to meet them and beat them. Upstaging Saul's men, David's name was on everyone's lips. Saul called his son Jonathan together with his servants and ordered him to kill David, but because Jonathan treasured David, he went and warned him. My father is looking for a way to kill you. Here's what you do. Tomorrow morning, hide and stay here. I'll go out with my father into the field where you're hiding. I'll talk about it. I'll talk about you to my father, and we'll see what he says. Then I'll report back to you. Jonathan brought up David with his father, speaking well of him. Please, he said to his father, don't attack David. He hasn't wronged you, has he? And just look at all the good he has done. He put his life on the line when he killed the Philistine. What a great victory God gave Israel that day. You were there. You saw it with your own. Uh, you saw it and were on your feet applauding with everyone else. So why would you even think of sinning against an innocent person, killing David for no reason whatsoever? Saul listened to Jonathan and said, you're right, and God lives. David lives, he will not be killed. Jonathan sent for David and reported to him everything he said. Then he brought David back to Saul, and everything was as it was before. War broke out again, and David went out to fight the Philistines. He beat them badly, and they ran for their lives. But then a black mood from God settled over Saul and took control of him. He was sitting at home, his spear in his hand, while David was playing music. Suddenly, Saul tried to skewer David with his spear, but David ducked. The spear stuck in the wall, and David got away. It was night. Saul sent men to David's house to stake it out, and then first thing in the morning to kill him. But Michelle, David's wife, told him what was going on. Quickly now, make your escape tonight. If not, you'll be dead in the morning. She let him out of a window, and he made his escape. Then Michelle took a dummy god and put it in the bed, placed a wig of goat's hair on its head, and threw a quilt over it. When Saul's men arrived to get David, she said, he's sick in bed. Saul sent his men back, ordering them, bring him, bed and all, so I can kill him. When the men entered the room, all they found was a bed with a dummy god with it in goat's hair wig. Saul stormed at Michelle. How could you play tricks on me like this? You sided with my enemy, and now he's gotten away. Michelle said, he threatened me. He said, help me out, or I will kill you. David made good his escape and went to Samuel to Ramah and told him everything that Saul had done. Then he and Samuel withdrew to the privacy of Noath. Saul was told, David's at Noath in Ramah. He immediately sent his men to capture him. They saw a band of prophets prophesying with Samuel presiding over them. Before they knew it, the Spirit of God was on them too, and they were ranting and raving right along with the prophets. That's when they reported back to Saul, and he dispatched more men. They too were soon prophesying. So Saul tried a third time, a third set of men, and they ended up mindlessly raving as well. Fed up, Saul went to Ramah himself. He came to the big cistern at Siku, and inquired, where are Samuel and David? A bystander said, over at Naioth in Ramah. And he headed out for Noath in Ramah, and the Spirit of God was on him, too, all the way to Naioth. He was brought up in the babbling trance. He ripped off his clothes and lay there rambling gibberish before Samuel for the day and night, stretched out naked. People are still talking. I think I missed a page there. Still talking it. Saul among the prophets, who would have guessed? Let's make sure I didn't miss anything there. Okay. That took a little longer than normal, but I think the rest of these chapters are really short, so just bear with me for a second. Okay, my breakdown of 1 Samuel 18:5 through 19:24. David is rising in favor with the people because God's hand is on him. Saul starts out celebrating David's victories, but jealousy slowly turns into hatred. Instead of being thankful for David, Saul becomes consumed with comparison and insecurity. David stays faithful, humble, and obedient, even while being attacked. Jonathan shows true friendship by protecting David, and Michelle helps save David's life as Saul tries repeatedly to kill him. The lesson: when God promotes you, not everyone will celebrate you. Don't ever forget that. When you win, remember who's cheering the loudest, because those are your really true friends. Some people will become threatened by your calling. Stay faithful anyways. David didn't fight Saul out of revenge. He trusted God to handle it. Jealousy destroys the jealous person first. I believe that. John 8:31 through 59. Then Jesus turned to the Jews who had claimed to believe in him. If you stuck with this, living out what I tell you, you are my disciples for sure. Then you will experience for yourself the truth, and the truth will free you. The truth will set you free. Surprised, they said, but we're descendants of Abraham. We've never been slaves to anyone. How can you say that? The truth will set you free. Jesus said, I tell you most solemnly that anyone who chooses a life of sin is trapped in by death and life and is, in fact, a slave. A slave can't come and go at will. The son, though, he has an established position to the run of the house. So if the son sets you free, you are free through and through. I know you are Abraham's descendants, but I also know that you're trying to kill me because my message hasn't yet penetrated your thick skulls. I'm talking about things I have seen while keeping company with the Father, and you just go on doing what you have heard from your father. They were indignant. Our father is Abraham. Jesus said, if you were Abraham's children, you would have been doing the things Abraham did, and yet here you are trying to kill me. A man who has spoken to you the truth he got straight from God. Abraham never did that sort of thing. You persist in repeating the works of your fathers, they said. We're not bastards. We have a legitimate father, the one and only God. If God were your father, said Jesus, you would love me, for I came from God and arrived here. I didn't come on my own. He sent me. Why can't you understand one word I say? Here's why you can't handle it. You're from your father, the devil, and all you want to do is please him. He was a killer from the very start. He couldn't stand the truth because there wasn't a shred of truth in him. When a liar speaks, he makes it up out of the lying nature and fills the world with lies. I arrive on the scene, tell you the plain truth, and you refuse to have a thing to do with me. Can any one of you convict me of a single misleading word, a single sinful act? But I'm telling you the truth. Why don't you believe me? Anyone on God's side listens to the God's words. To God's words. This is why you're not listening, because you're not on God's side. The Jews then said, that settles it. We're right here all along when we called you a Samaritan and said you were crazy, demon possessed. Jesus said, I'm not crazy. I simply honor my Father. You will not destroy me. I'm not trying to get anything for myself. God intends something great, gloriously grand here and is making the decisions that will bring it about. I say this with an absolute confidence. If you practice what I'm telling you, you'll never have to look death in the face. At this point, the Jews said, now we know you're crazy. Abraham died, the prophets died, and you show up saying, if you practice what I'm telling you, you'll never have to face death. Not even a taste. Are you greater than Abraham, who died? And the prophets died. Who do you think you are? Jesus said, I am striving to get all the attention. I wouldn't amount to anything, but my Father, the same one you say is your Father, put me here at the time and the place of splendor. You haven't recognized him in this, but I have. And if I, in false modesty, said I didn't know what was going on, I would be as much of a liar as you are. But I do know that I'm doing what he says. Abraham, your father, with elated faith, looked down the corridors of history and saw my day coming. He saw it and cheered. The Jews said, you are not even 50 years old, and Abraham saw you. Believe me, said Jesus, I am who I am, long before Abraham was anything. That did it, pushed them over the edge. They picked up rocks and threw at him, but Jesus slipped away, getting out of the temple. That's crazy. The breakdown of John 8:31 through 59, Jesus teaches the real disciples continue in his word. Jesus teaches that real disciples continue in his word. The religious leaders believed ancestry saved them because they were descendants of Abraham, but Jesus explained the true freedom only comes through him. He exposes that sin makes people slaves, and only the Son can set them free. The crowd become angry because Jesus challenges their pride and hypocrisy. Then Jesus makes the powerful statement, before Abraham was, I am. Declaring his divinity, they understood exactly what he meant and tried to stone them. The lesson: truth will either humble you or offend you. Following Jesus is more than religion, tradition, and family background. It's surrender, obedience, and relationship. Psalms 112, 1 through 10. Hallelujah, bless the man, bless the woman who fear God, who cherish and relish his commandments, their children robust on the earth, and their homes of the upright, how blessed. Their houses brim with wealth and generosity that never runs dry. Sunrise breaks through the darkness for good people. God's grace and mercy and justice. The good person is generous and lends lavishly. No shuffling and stumbling around for this one, but a sterling and a solid and lasting reputation, unfazed by rumor and gossip, heart ready, trusting in God, spirit firm, un, unper, unper, unperturbed. I've never seen that word before. Unperturbed. Unperturbed. I'm definitely have to look that up. Ever blessed, relaxed among enemies, they lavish gifts of the poor. They lavish gifts on the poor, a generosity that goes on and on and on. An honored life, a beautiful life. Someone wicked takes one look and rages, blusters away, but ends up speechless. There's nothing to the dreams of the wicked. Nothing. Breakdown of Psalms 112, 1 through 10. The psalm describes the life of a righteous person who fears the Lord. The godly person is generous, stable, fearless, and full of compassion. Even in difficult times, they remain steady because their trust is in God and not circumstances. Meanwhile, the wicked become angry because they see God blessing the righteous, but they ultimately fade away. The lesson: a life built on God creates peace, stability, and lasting influence. When your foundation is in the Lord, bad news doesn't shake you as easily. Proverbs 15:12 through 14. Know it alls don't like being told what to do. They avoid the company of wise men and women. A cheerful heart brings a smile to your face. A sad heart makes it hard to get through the day. An intelligent person is always eager to take in more truth. Fools feed on fast food, fads, and fancies. The breakdown of Proverbs 15:12 through 14. A mocker hates correction because pride refuses accountability. Wise people seek knowledge and instruction because they want growth, not just comfort. I always say nothing good comes from being in comfort zones. Nothing at all. Your attitude towards correction reveals your maturity. The lesson: immature people avoid truth that challenges them. Wise people pursue truth even when it's uncomfortable. Growth requires humility. No one told you today. I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you for jumping on. We will see you tomorrow. It'll be May 17th. Have a better than good day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.